Is there anything you didn't get read?
Venom.
Okay. I still can't get it to open.
Okay.
More than 3 pages.
At some point, I'll
glance at it.
Yeah.
There's going to be a number of these that I'm just going to kind of breeze past.
Yeah. All right, I didn't do a recap on the Thunderbolts book, so I'm just going to have to make it up.
That's fine. We're going to go almost page by page on Secret Empire #0, so
that's fine.
We're going to have to.
Yep.
I reread it just a minute ago, and I was like, "Yeah, we're going to have to tear this thing apart."
Okay.
A lot happens.
Yep.
How do you feel about Georgia being ranked #1?
I'm fine with it. Glad for old Kirby. Kind of like him.
Yeah, I thought you might say something like that.
And I don't, dude, these rankings are meaningless. I mean,
they really are.
There was a couple of years ago where there was 3 SEC teams ranked in the top 4, like the first or second week. I mean, it's meaningless, man. I mean, yeah, if nothing else, Alabama and Georgia are going to play each other once, possibly twice before the season's over. So it's meaningless, man.
Right.
So, dude, it's
It's how I felt about Penn State being #2 a couple weeks ago. I was like, they're not #2. They're #2 because they had a bye week in week 6 when everybody bit the dust.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they got beat and, okay, to the back of the line.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if Auburn loses the A&M game, it's not going to be good.
I don't know. I got mixed emotions on that, man. I don't. I think the best thing that can happen for everybody is Gus Malzahn taking the Arkansas job. Yeah.
They're still really talking about that. That's okay. We're going to hire Lane Kiffin.
Dude.
Or Gruden. Isn't that the other one that everybody's bandying around?
I got news for you.
Lane Kiffin.
Every now and then, Gruden gets there's a longer bit fitting that helps, but I love you.
Love you. Go up. Go.
He's fine. Just the cat can't stay. He's coming behind you.
Come on.
Every now and then, Gruden gets the coaching itch, and he wants to coach. But dude, he's making as much money coaching as he would in that Monday Night Football booth, and he doesn't work near as hard. And occasionally he thinks about it, and then he realizes how much money he's making coaching. I mean, sitting in that booth, and he doesn't have to get up at 3 a.m. He works about 3 months out of the year, which is a whole lot easier than working 11 and a half months out of the year.
Yeah. It's one of those things he really likes doing it, but he's not going to do it.
Yeah. Same thing with Bill Cowart, man. Every now and then somebody suggests Bill Cowart for one of these jobs, and it's just no.
Yeah. We good?
Let's give it another moment or two.
Okay.
I believe we are now, but we'll give it another moment or two. And I looked at what Lane Kiffin has done at Florida Atlantic, and dude, he's done a surprisingly good job down there.
How long? He's been there, what, a year?
Look at their record, man.
Well, I'm just saying, like, he's only been there a year.
I understand, but dude, they're like 3 wins a season for the last 5 or 6 years, and he's close to having a bowl eligible.
Yeah,
I mean he's
okay.
I mean, I'll be surprised if in the next few weeks he doesn't get him in a bowl game for the first time in several years.
Yeah. But if you ask me, he needs to just stay there and do his thing for a little bit.
I've got mixed emotions about him because I'm not a big Lane Kiffin fan, but I think he kind of got a raw deal last year when he got passed over for the Houston job and a couple other jobs and couldn't get a job just because he's Lane Kiffin. Okay, I think he's more qualified than Major Applewhite, who got the Houston job, and more qualified than a couple other people who got jobs. And I think he...
And somewhere, one of these SEC teams that's in the middle of an awful season is going, I don't know, he looks pretty good.
I don't know if he's ready for an SEC job, but he should have got that Houston job. He should have got some of the jobs he was up for last year.
Yeah.
And I think he really got hosed when he didn't. All right, let's do this.
Okay. You got the intro ready?
Yeah.
I'll take that as a yes. Email, website. What's next? And then into Secret Empire. Okay. Oh. Okay. All right. 3, 2, 1.
What is up? This is the 6 Month Behind podcast for the week of 10/23/17. I am an excited Pat Myers.
And I'm a moderately
No. I don't want to ever put my last name out there. Do it again.
Plus, we're Tim Taylor and Bob Vila.
Yep. Hang on. Who am I?
I don't know.
And I forgot the podcast name.
6 months behind?
Yeah. I mean, I know it. I didn't put it in there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right, let's do it again. Count it down.
3, 2, 1.
What is up? This is the 6 Month Behind podcast for the week of 10/23/17. I am Pat.
And I am Sean.
And this week we are Tim Taylor and Bob Vila. And we're just excited to be here because Secret Empire is finally here. And we're taking their tools and rebuilding my house and Secret Empire in the Marvel Universe and just digging into it. We're all excited. How you doing, man?
I'm okay, dude. How are you?
You know, it's life and it's okay.
Apparently rebuilding your house is, as you said.
Yes. I had a drip, and that drip became a flood.
A geyser? Yeah.
A flood. A flood. If you ever have a drip, don't let it drip. That should be your wisdom of the week.
Yeah. You had to rip up all the carpet in your house or something?
Honest to goodness. I had to let the water run for 30 to 45 seconds before it would start dripping out of the garbage disposal. And all I saw was this little bitty black spot on the bottom of the cabinet. and you wouldn't even see it dripping until the water had run like 30 or 45 seconds to fill up the garbage disposal.
Mhm.
Then it would start dripping out, and it was this little bitty drip. So I called the guy, because the garbage disposal is like covered by home warranty. So I called him, and he rips out the bottom of the cabinet, and under the bottom of all the cabinets, you've been in my house, because the sink is kind of L-shaped. It's like a 6-foot section, and then it turns, and then that wall runs down the living room, right? And that wall's like 15 feet long. So under all those cabinets for like 6 feet, and then the 15 feet, there's like 1.5 inches of water standing that had molded the wall, okay, black mold, and flooded like half my living room. And when I say flooded, I mean it had molded the carpet.
Mhm.
Okay, I have no idea how long it had been there, but that's what that one little drip had done that I couldn't even see.
Yeah, that you weren't even aware of for apparently a
Wasn't
very
even-
long time.
Wasn't even aware of it because you got all the stuff in the bottom of your cabinet under your sink. You got dishwashing detergent and Pledge and Windex and whatever.
Yeah.
So I think one day one of us reached down and grabbed something. It was wet, and we're like, "Oh, why's it wet?" Then we take everything out. We see it's a wet spiral. Like, well, why's that wet? And I'm like, well, I got wet stuff down here. So then I start trying to figure out why. And dude comes over to fix the garbage disposal. 2 hours later, my house is ripped apart. I'm like, my house is ripped apart. I got $9,000 worth of damage. I'm like, what happened?
This is not how this was supposed to go.
What just happened here, man? I got insurance people. I got fans drying out my house. I got tile ripped up. I got half my carpet going. I got holes in my wall. They're ripping sheetrock off, and dude, like my whole section of my cabinets are going. And they're telling me there's black mold. I'm like, what? Where? What happened? I went to work. I had a house. I come home. It's gone. Where did it go?
There's just 4 walls standing and only half the roof. And they took the driveway.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, it sounds like you've had a fun week.
Oh, it's been a blast.
If you want to tell us about your home repair nightmares, you can email us at 6monthsbehind@gmail.com. That's the number 6monthsbehind@gmail.com. Also, check out our website,
www.6monthsbehind.com.
and check out our other show, What's Next, where we discuss the deep dives into the Marvel Unlimited service to tell you what you should be reading. We reach way back in the digital long boxes and pull out the good stuff for you.
The digital long boxes. I like that.
Yeah.
I got one. I got one coming up on Beta Ray Bill. It's gonna be good.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that.
The origin of Beta Ray Bill. It's actually pretty cool.
I don't think I've really read a whole lot of Beta Ray Bill.
But because Thor was just so boring, man. I mean, it was just typical 70s and 80s stuff. And Jim Shooter really wanted he was trying hard. Jim Shooter did a lot of things wrong, but he really wanted to shake up some of these books. And some of his efforts failed, like the Clone Saga, and some of them succeeded, like Beta Ray Bill, dude. And that was just, I mean, you read like a couple of previous issues, and then you read what he did with in creating Beta Ray Bill, and you're like, dude, this is so much better. It was like a shot of adrenaline into the book.
Cool. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Also, we do discuss spoilers on this podcast. If you have not read all the books and do not wish to be spoiled, pause now, go read the books, come back later.
Come back in 6 months.
Yeah, come back in 6 months. That's right.
Because we're going to do our best, but this is, and the real problem with what's happening, particularly in the next couple of weeks, and with Captain America, Steve Rogers number 16, is you're dealing with time issues here, and you're going to kind of deal with them this week, and they really won't be addressed again until Secret Empire number 10. They really won't be addressed till issue 10, but you're going to kind of deal with them in Captain America 16 and Secret Empire number 0, and they really won't be addressed again for a while. So
you're introduced to these elements, and then all of a sudden, no one talks about it for 9 issues.
Yeah, and it kind of goes away, then it comes back. So this is kind of where we're at with this. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, so we're diving straight into Secret Empire. It's really kicking off this week. We have Secret Empire 0, but leading up to that,
We have all of the, what are they calling these? Opening salvo books.
yeah,
Which the first one, and this is, we recommended last week. We got the whole Secret Empire section on the website. Their videos, rating order, and these are in the rating order. The rating order should be Thunderbolts number 12, which this opens. If you go back a few issues, Zemo and the villains launched an all-out attack on the Thunderbolts. They've tried to kill Kobik. They've tried to kill and capture Bucky. Those attempts have failed. So Kobik has brought Bucky, or is bringing Bucky back to the future. Atlas is down. Jolt is trying to revive him. And at that point, Kobik returns. And Kobik is throwing a cosmic temper tantrum. And Zemo is there and says, yes, sometimes he asks and the universe delivers. And then he says, if Bucky would just show up, everything would be perfect. And about that time, Bucky drops out of space right in his lap. And we're going to see through this issue and Steve Rogers number 16 that Zemo really hates Bucky, because when he was growing up, he and Steve Rogers in this alternate timeline that we have were kids together from like 5 years old through adulthood. They grew up together.
right.
And I'm trying to think. When Bucky became Captain America's partner for the United States in World War II and fought by his side for those 4 or 5 years, Zemo feels that's his place. And he really hates Bucky Barnes for doing that. It is a deep-rooted, intense hatred for Bucky that he has.
It couldn't get any more personal.
No, it is seriously personal. It's beyond the fact that Bucky has Kobik. It's beyond the fact that he's keeping him from his goal. He wants Bucky dead in pieces by his own hand, period. And yeah. Anyway, so he begins trying to kill Bucky for various reasons, because he needs Cosmic Cube, mainly because he just wants to kill Bucky for the fun of it. The rest of the villains are trying to capture what's left of the Thunderbolts, and the Thunderbolts are having to choose sides. That's going so-so. The whole time, you've got a Cosmic Cube in the form of, how old is Kobik? What is she, 4 or 5?
4, yeah, 4 or 5.
4, throwing a temper tantrum and threatening to rip the fabric of reality apart. And I think it's Fixer who finally comes up with as he did in Pleasant Hill, finally comes up with a box to hold her, which they do. And he holds her, and I think it's Atlas that finally holds the box, and they get her captured. The whole time, everyone's fighting. Zemo and Bucky, of course, are doing a villain dialogue. I believe it's Moonstone who strikes down Bucky from behind. And as they capture Kobik, it's Fixer who shoots her. And when he does, he blows her into several pieces. Blows her into, I think it's 8 pieces.
Yeah.
8 fragments of a cosmic cube, because understand, she's a cube. She's got she's taken a life form, but she's a sentient cosmic cube. So what Fixer does when he blasts her with this energy is literally just blow her into the pieces of the assembled cosmic cube that she is. And those pieces of the cosmic cube are blasted across the I guess they're in the Arctic. So they're blasted across the Arctic.
Yeah.
And we're going to come back to this in Captain America. And at that point, Bucky's subdued. They've got him captured, and they have to begin looking for the pieces. And that's pretty much where we leave off in this issue, except for Ghost, who's still wandering around looking for all the files there in the Thunderbolt headquarters.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. So Bucky's disassembled, and Kobik is captured, and all the Thunderbolts have had to choose sides. Yeah. It's a good issue.
Yeah.
It was getting into this series. I've enjoyed this series.
So this the
At
last
times
issue?
it's kind of, it is the last issue.
Okay.
Yeah. At times it's kind of drug a little bit, but I have really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it wasn't half bad for. I mean, it was essentially somewhere to put Kobik while they caught up the rest of the stories.
Yes.
Yeah. Then we had U.S. Avengers number 5. The title of this issue is Meet the New Boss. So the whole story here is Roberto DaCosta has taken over AIM, turned it into an organization of good guys, and then sold out to S.H.I.E.L.D. So now AIM is an arm of S.H.I.E.L.D. So now Captain America is Robert DaCosta's boss. And he walks into DaCosta's office and sits down and says, "We got to talk, buddy," and proceeds to bitch him out.
Pretty much so, yes.
Yeah. He basically pulls rank on him and says, listen, you've been wild and reckless and crazy. You're part of S.H.I.E.L.D. now. You can't do this. This is how you cause an international incident. What are you doing? We're running around with a Red Hulk. You actively fought S.H.I.E.L.D. like on the battlefield. You can't do this crap anymore, DaCosta. And if you do, you're going to be in big trouble. But all of this turns out to be just a way to get into his head so that he can manipulate them when the time comes, when it hits the fan. The Chitauri invasion, Hydra, New York, all of it, as we'll see in number 0 in a minute. You also have a couple of B stories with the other members of the team. You got a little thing going on between Enigma and Iron Patriot lady. You got a little bit with Squirrel Girl and Red Hulk, who are fighting a Gorilla Man. You got Cannonball, or no, it's Cannonball. Cannonball and his girlfriend are gonna stay in space for a little while. Probably the best decision they can make. Yeah, wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
I have a feeling the book's going to get canceled once all the Secret Empire stuff's over.
Actually, not. No.
No? Okay, good.
No.
I've actually, we thought this was going to be a really silly book with, the team that they assembled when they started this thing a few months ago, but it's actually turned into a book that I enjoy. Yeah,
it is a good book, and it's not getting canceled immediately following Secret Empire. I mean, okay. There are Avenger plans I could, give the disclaimer and tell you about, but we can, discuss or not discuss those. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, we'll leave that for another day. Tell us about Captain America, Steve Rogers, number 16.
So I started reading this, I think at work, and I didn't realize this thing was like 40 pages. I thought it was, 18, 20, whatever they normally are. And I thought, what is this ever going to end? And then I clicked on it, dude. It's like 40 pages. I was like, holy cow. Oh my goodness.
Secret Empire 0 is 41.
Yeah. These two books are just monsters, man.
These are the 2 main books.
Yeah. I think I've seen her name spelt different ways in different places. Is it Elsa or Alyssa?
What do you mean?
The lady's name who's been manipulating Steve all this time.
I thought it was Elisa.
Is it Elisa?
That's how I've been pronouncing it.
Okay. All right. Because at times I think I've seen the I left out of it. But we'll go with Elisa. Sure.
Could be Elsa. I don't know.
Well, I thought I'd seen the I left out of it at times, which is what's confused me. Elisa. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's Elisa.
Yeah. Anyway. So this begins in 1945 when Elisa and Steve and Steve's all bummed out because everything's going south. Hydra has led Germany to win World War II. America is developing a cosmic cube. His buddy Zemo is captured by the Allies. And if all that sounds crazy, well, it is, because this is the alternate history that has been created by Kobik. And that's yeah. We really discussed this in previous episodes?
Well, and we're going to see this in Secret Empire Zero, so we'll go ahead and talk about it now. The official story is that the Axis actually won World War II, but the Allies used a cosmic cube to change it. But Steve is the only one who remembers via weird ritual. But that in itself is the reality that Kobik created.
Yes, when she made Captain America young again in Pleasant Hill,
yeah,
that is the reality that she created.
Right. But that's the thing, is she's a cosmic cube. She can do that. It's not that she changed the timeline. It's that she made it so that's how it always was.
Right. This isn't an alternate reality. And when Tom Brevoort said, this isn't a brainwashed Captain America, this isn't a different Captain America, this isn't all these things, he was technically correct. I mean, technically, he did not lie. This isn't an alternate reality. This isn't any of these things. This is reality as we know it. This is reality. This is the United
what
States.
Happened.
Yes, this is what happened.
But it's because Kobik made it so.
Yes. And well, I tell you what, let's continue, but because that's what she did, is change history. Now, as we get to the tail end of this issue, we'll discuss why Steve Rogers gets so upset. So he's upset. He's basically throwing a temper tantrum. And this book kind of, in the beginning, kind of jumps around a lot. We cut to Sokovia, where Maria Hill has just found a video that Taskmaster was trying to sell her of Captain America's Hydra agent. From there, we find Zemo doing a dialogue to Bucky where he's got him, he's trying to take his revenge on Bucky, and he's trying to get Kobik back together. He's got Dr. Selvig and the Fixer trying to put Kobik back together. Okay, because you remember back in Thunderbolts, all right, Kobik was blown apart, right? So she's a fragmented cosmic cube at this point, and not a complete cosmic cube. And if you go all the way back to Pleasant Hill number 0, not the first issue of Pleasant Hill, but Pleasant Hill, I think it was Alpha or Pleasant Hill 0, something like that. It started with fragments of a cosmic cube.
Yeah.
And that's what we have now.
That S.H.I.E.L.D. was experimenting on.
Right. And that's what we have now. We have fragments again.
And Dr. Selvig was running that program.
Right. And now they've got the 7 fragments together, and they're trying to find the 8th one. So then we go back to Steve and Elsa, who are having a conversation about, Elisa. What did we decide it was? Alyssa. Thank you very much.
Alyssa would be an A-Y.
Elisa. Okay. Yeah. Every week I butcher a name. This is the chosen name this week.
Mm-hmm.
Elisa. Okay. Elisa. What do we decide?
Elisa.
I'm going to type this right here. Okay. We're going to type.
It's really not that important.
It is to me, because I want it to be the same every time. If I keep changing it, it bugs me. Okay. We're going to put it right there. We're going to do that. We're going to make it like 48-inch, 30-inch font. Okay. Elisa. There we go. Okay. So to prove that she's not really, evil, Elisa reunites him with his mom. And I'm like, where's his mom been for like 20-something years? I don't know.
Yeah, that was something I was like, okay, what, did you just stick her in a bunker? Or like, what'd you do?
Yeah, she's been locked up in prison or something.
It's probably not really her.
I don't know. But, it makes Steve happy. So whatever. From there, we're back to Maria Hill, who calls the one person that she thinks she can trust in this situation, which happens to be Rick Jones. Okay. Whether good or bad, whatever. So then we're back to the Hydra base where Fixer is harassing. Actually, Zemo is harassing the Fixer, who's harassing Dr. Selvig to get Kobik back together. And at that point, Atlas and Songbird or Atlas and not Sunbird, Atlas and Moonstone have just found the 8th and final piece of the Cosmic Cube, which when reassembled will put Kobik back together again, who will then be under Zemo and Hydra's control. So at that point, Silvet freaks out because he's got this love affair going with Kobik because she's like his wonderful creation. If we go back to Pleasant Hill, you know, he sees it as his masterpiece.
Right.
So he shoots Fixer.
Almost a little creepy.
It's almost a little creepy. We're going to discuss something else creepy too in a few minutes.
Okay.
So he shoots Fixer with a taser so he can do what he wants to with Kobik. So he shoots Fixer with a taser, and that gets Fixer out of the way. Then we go back to Bucky and Zemo, and Zemo's got Bucky tied to this airplane again for the umpteenth time. And even Bucky's like, dude, I'm tied to this airplane again. I mean, how many times can I do this? He did it a couple of issues ago in Thunderbolts. You know, he did it back in the 40s. He's like, how many times I got to be tied to this thing? And of course, Zemo's monologuing like villains do, and he plays the video of Steve monologuing, and you know, then he launches the airplane. Then we cut back again. We cut back to Steve and Alyssa. Thank you. Did I pronounce it right?
Yeah.
You're just humoring me at this point.
No, you did. Let's move on.
Okay, good. This podcast is only going to last 2 hours, man. It's fine. Okay. To Alyssa, and she's explaining to him that what we're going to discuss what's going to happen in Secret Empire number 0, where he's got to go into this porter that Kraken has. Kraken has. Another name of butcher.
Kraken would be AE.
Kraken. Anyway, and see, the thing is, we start joking about it, and then I forget which one it is.
Yeah, it's Kraken.
So anyway, the dude with the upside down horns. Why did he point the horns up, man? I don't understand. Anyway, and she explains how everybody's going to die, and she doesn't know if she's going to make it, but he's got to go jump through the magic portal. And good luck. Hope you make it. You know, nobody's going to remember you. You're not going to remember yourself, but you'll somehow survive. And I just want to say, at this point, we're on issue 16 here. I love every time we've seen her, they've had that whole red art thing going on. Okay.
Yeah, it's intentional.
Yeah, I know. Of course, it's intentional. No, it's accidental. They just happen to do it every time she's in a panel.
It's a signal. It's a
idiot. Of course, it's intentional, dude. Anyway, I love how they did it. It looks cool, man, and they've done it for 16 issues now. It looks good, man. I really, dude, it's cool. I mean, they did it from issue 1 till now, and there's like this red sunset behind her in those last couple of panels, and it looks cool. So then we finally get to the current time period, and they're on page 21, where Steve's made it and she's made it. We'll discuss how he gets there in Secret Empire number 0. And then they're holding each other, looking at each other's eyes like lovers. And I'm like, this is like creepy, man. I mean, it's like a whole what's golly, there's a Roman term for it. I can't think of it.
Oh, Oedipus.
Yeah, it's creepy, man. It's like he wants to make out with her.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
It's like he wants to jump her. I mean, this is like, dude, this was, you know, anyway. So she's there waiting on him, like she promised she would be somehow. And it's a little weird, man. I mean, it's yeah. I mean, it's a weird panel.
I'm with you. It's weird. Yeah.
It's weird.
Creepy.
So anyway, so the whole Hydra team's there, and you know, everything's going good. We kick over to the Helicarrier Crescent, where Dr. Faustus is brainwashing everybody on the Helicarrier, and Steve is getting all his troops together. Rick Jones is taking the call from Maria Hill, and she's explaining to him that Steve Rogers is Hydra. She's being chased by Hydra agents, except Rick Jones has got a call coming in from Captain America, who's explaining to him that Maria Hill's a Hydra agent. And now Rick Jones has got to decide which one he's going to believe. And what is it Steve wants him to do? Raise or lower the shield? He wants the code so he can lower the shield, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so he can lower the shield. And then at that point, Black Ant shows up, tells him he trusted the wrong person. And then we find out what Dr. Selvig has done. And Steve kind of loses his cool because they have to explain to Steve that Dr. Selvig took the cube and blew it apart and sent it to different parts of the world. Now, I don't know how well that's explained here because you asked me, I forget if you called me or asked me via text why Dr. Selvig killed himself.
Yeah, I texted you because he essentially blows Kobik back up and then kills himself.
What he does, and I don't know how well this is explained in this conversation, but what he does is he takes the cube and blows it up, takes the 8 fragments, and sends them all over the world. And it doesn't just send them all over the world. He sends them to wonderful places to hide them. Like, say, I don't know, Atlantis, Wakanda, places like that for them to be hidden, and then kills himself so that he can't be ordered to reassemble them. And then the cubes are all over the world, just hidden for everybody to have to find. And
yeah,
Steve,
that's not going to come up later.
No, of course it's not going to come up later. We got 10 issues to fill. How could that possibly come up? Now, what Steve wants the cube for, okay, and why he's so upset here, is he wants to take the cube, and as he remembers the world, he wants everyone else to remember World War II and everything as he remembers it.
Right. So that via that remembering, the world becomes that way.
Yes. But because in his mind, everyone else has been brainwashed so that World War II is incorrect. He wants to correct that brainwashing with the Cosmic Cube to make the world as it really should be. That's what he wants to do. He wants to take the cube and make the world as it should be in his mind, with Hydra as the rightful rulers of the world.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So then we have this scene where
by the way, Steve Rogers has been in possession of cosmic cubes and other items that could do this many times and has never done it. And I don't understand why, if he was a Hydra agent the whole time, why he didn't do it. But okay,
did go with the story. It's kind of
I'm just being me.
Yeah. So then he addresses the troops. Then Eric Selvig kills himself. Then let's see, the world starts going to pieces all at the same time. We've got a guy who goes in, and what does he blow up? He yells "Hell Hydra" and blows up one of the
it's the
defense
shield,
towers.
isn't it?
Yeah, I think
the
it's
shield.
The shield towers.
Yeah.
And the shield's down, and then Bucky gets blown to pieces there on the thing.
On the plane. Yeah.
On the plane. Yep, that's all bad for him.
Just start taking them off. Let's see. Dr. Selvig. That
Dr.
guy.
Selvig's dead.
Bucky.
Yeah, that dude's dead. I don't know who that dude is, but he's dead. Bucky's dead. Are we keeping a death toll?
Yeah, we're just gonna keep a tally.
Okay. We've got the villains attacking in New York.
Yeah, randomly, all the villains in New York attacking all at once.
Yep. And
a bunch of them are like, it's like all the Pleasant Hill guys, right? Like they were real mad about Pleasant Hill, so they organized this or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all the guys that Zemo assembled back in. Was it one of the Thunderbolt issues or one of the Captain America issues?
One or the other. I don't remember. But essentially, he's put together. He found everyone who had grievances over the Pleasant Hill issue and mobilized them.
Yes, and that summarizes Captain America, Steve Rogers number 16, which brings us to what we have all been waiting for. Secret Empire number 0.
Yeah. So a lot happens here. So we're just going to take it.
That's a great cover. These are all.
It's a pretty good cover. Yeah. There's some good covers this week. So in Japan in 1945, Steve meets Kraken outside the Hydra cave, where they descend to this ancient temple where they find an old man standing in a pool of yellow liquid, which is some sort of time displacement thing. And we also find what's this guy's Isaac Newton. Yeah, Isaac Newton's there. Which he was working for Shield last I saw, but okay.
Well, this is the ultra reality.
Well, I guess that's true. Yeah, in this reality, he's a villain, which I kind of like that. I like the idea of Isaac Newton as a villain.
Did we discuss this on the air, or was this a private conversation between me and you?
No, sometimes we discussed it last week because he was
sometimes I forget what we discuss on the air and what we discuss off the air.
Yeah. Yeah, what's just conversations you and I have.
Yes.
No, because we were talking about him because he's in the Supremes book, and I was talking about how as a villain. Anyway,
Diana Ross. All right, go ahead.
What?
Nothing. Go ahead.
Something about Diana Ross. So this old man who's standing in this liquid gives some sort of prophecy which tells us how the Allies changed the world and changed the outcome of the war. Steve has to stand in the middle of this pool as this happens, so that's how he's the only one that remembers. Everyone else has changed, but because he was in this magic pool, he remembers. So that's where we kick off.
Yep.
Back in present day, it's day zero. It's D-Day. Everything's happening at once, and Steve Rogers is in command. You've got the Chitauri invasion happening. You've got all your forces in space with Carol and Alpha Flight and Quasar and everybody holding off the Chitauri invasion. You are managing the crisis with the shield because the planetary shield's down because somebody blew it up.
Hey, can I make an observation?
Sure.
And this is something that there's two podcasts I listen to. It's Comics Explained, and I can't remember the other one. And the other guy did and I'll reference him somewhere. I'll try and Google it and reference him in a couple of minutes. But he did a podcast on which was why I hate Secret Empire, and he actually had 2 or 3 valid points. And one of the points he made was, at this point, everyone just accepts that the AI is Tony Stark. That no one calls it an AI anymore.
It just is Tony Stark. Yeah.
It's just Tony Stark.
That's what it was meant to. That's how it's meant to be.
But it's not. It's an AI.
At some point, those lines blur. When you're Tony Stark, those lines are real blurred.
It's an AI.
Okay, but how
it's
much?
It's an AI who went and grabbed an armor.
Well, it's not made clear in these issues because sometimes you think maybe he's in there. He's not. We know he's not, but they don't really address it at all. Or there's a couple times they give you the impression that somehow that's his body in there, that he's in possession of a physical body again. But no, the theme with Tony Stark has always been, what's the line between man and machine?
I could tell you he ain't in there. But
no, he's not. It's an AI, but we're talking about, what is Tony Stark?
Okay.
And we can have a long conversation about that.
All right, go ahead.
Anyway, Tony Stark and Riri Williams are working to get the shield back online. You've got the hero invasion in New York, which has got the Defenders and almost everybody else tied up. You've got Hydra forces attacking in Sokovia. You've got Hydra forces, all kinds of cells going into action on the ground in the United States. Oh, and you've lost your head helicarrier that was over Sokovia. So that's all the things that you're dealing with right now, and it looks like an overwhelming situation. And everybody has put their trust in Captain America to handle this situation. Everybody but us is clueless to Captain America's true intentions. But that's not going to last for very long. That's a sports game.
Yes, I'm trying to find my thing. And anyway, go ahead. Keep going.
Was it a Grizzlies game?
No, it was a wrestling promo.
Oh, okay. So there's even this like long kind of dialogue going through the whole all the panels about how foolish they were to put all their eggs in one basket that was Captain America. So up in space, fighting off the Chitauri, Hyperion goes down, which it's like 6 Chitauri that shoot him at once. And, you know, that seems like a sissy way for him to go out given his power level, but okay. Quasar gets eaten by a giant Chitauri worm thing. She was their primary defense. Luke and the Defenders are overwhelmed in New York. I'm pretty sure Jessica Jones got blown up in that explosion. The what's the dude's name? He's the same guy that blew up that school in the prelude to the first Civil War.
Nitro?
Yeah, it was Nitro, and he blew up. I think he took Jessica Jones with him. That's another casualty. So there's 3 right there. The Defense Secretary of the United States calls Steve and says, look, you know, under the SHIELD Act, I'm giving you full command of all the armed forces in the world. And that's when Steve makes the turn. All of this is going on. He gets the SHIELD back online in order to not save the planet, but seal off those heroes who are in space to get back from getting back to Earth. Meanwhile, the Chitauri will take care of them now that they have no ground support. They finally find that helicarrier they're looking for. It rams them. Hydra forces are boarding the other helicarriers. All the SHIELD agents that have been brainwashed are turning, and they reach the bridge where Steve reveals himself to be the leader of Hydra. They cart Sharon away, and Tony and Riri figure it out first because they realize that the SHIELD was sabotaged and it wasn't actually blown up. So stage 1's complete, the Alpha Flight, and everybody's sealed outside the planet. Then Baron Zemo uses the Darkhold in order to seal Manhattan off via the Dark Dimension. So you've got all those heroes off the board. That's stage 2. And stage 3 is going to be the big showdown in Washington, D.C. for the Capitol. And yeah, it's going to be a big deal. So,
yeah.
Number 1 coming out, not this coming week, but the next week, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go, man. Also,
Secret Empire Free Comic Book Day. There will be a link to it. Is available on Comixology.
Yeah, Comixology or your Kindle app, either one.
And there will be a link to it on the website by the time you listen to this.
Yeah. Why it's not unlimited, I don't know, but it's literally free on Comixology. You can just read it immediately because that's what I did. I read it the other day. You need to read the Free Comic Book Day issue before number 1 because the Free Comic Book Day issue is the showdown with the heroes in Washington, D.C.
Yes.
And it tells you how that unfolds and how we get to what's going on in number 1.
And I gave you a brief preview of number 1. In number 1, it's a leap to number 1 if you don't read Free Comic Book Day.
Yeah. I mean, you can, we're all nerds here. You can probably follow along, but you'll want to see it.
Yeah.
It's a good read.
So what do you think?
Yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. We'll see where it goes.
All that, and that's what you get, huh?
Yeah. Hey, it's number 0. We're not, we got a long way to go before I get a real opinion.
Uh,
I will tell you this, that maybe all this hubbub that has bubbled up from Secret Empire is maybe the lesson that Nick Spencer was trying to teach us in the first place. That we take these things for granted, these freedoms and this democracy that we have, and it can be so easily undermined by those who wish to do so. And that if we're not careful and we aren't vigilant, it'll be snatched away from us before we ever know.
Gee, you think?
Given the news this week.
I think first off, this is a very good story, as you can see from these issues, and he has written 2 of these issues. Okay, Captain America 16 and Secret Empire 0. He wrote himself. He's been writing Sam Wilson, and they're good. All right, Sam Wilson in particular is the exact opposite. I mean, he takes all this flack for making Captain America Nazi. He made Sam Wilson the exact opposite of it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to give you a serious spoiler here, but it will make this a lot greater read for you. Okay. So I'm warning everyone, this is a really, really great spoiler, but it'll make this a better read.
Yeah. If you don't want to be spoiled, jump ahead about 3 to 5 minutes.
Jump ahead a couple of minutes. Okay. Sam Wilson is the one narrating this book.
Okay.
Okay. So he's the one doing all the commentary all the way through this thing. So when you read about how we got defeated, we laid down, we have to rise up, he's the one doing the commentary. Okay. So you're seeing when and the whole time you've been reading 2 Captain Americas, all right? You've been reading Captain America Sam Wilson, you've been reading Captain America Steve Rogers, you've been seeing 2 sides of the same coin. All right? You've been seeing the side that's fighting oppression, and you've been seeing the side that became a Nazi. You're seeing 2 sides of the same coin. And that's what Nick Spencer is trying to present. And all anybody says is, he made Captain America a Nazi. Yes, but he also made the guy who's fighting for the underprivileged, who's trying to stand up for what's right, who's showing you, yes, we can stand up against this and we can rise up against this even in our darkest hour.
Yeah. Meanwhile, he took what we think of as Captain America and turned it into a evil caricature of itself in order to demonstrate what happens when you allow these things you allow this corruption to set in.
Right.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. And it's particularly relevant at the moment, which I'm not sure Nick Spencer really meant to happen, but I think it aids the story.
He didn't, and it's a great read. It just
I'm not sure we'd be getting out of it what we are if the world were not as it is today.
Right.
Because the main lesson to be taught here is, what's the nature of freedom?
Right. And you're going to, what you're going to learn is the same thing we're getting ahead of ourselves here, but you're going to learn that Hydra does the same thing that the Nazis did. Okay. The Nazis spent 5 to 7 years making Germany a better place. Okay. Doing road improvements, doing rail improvements, doing building improvements, creating employment, creating welfare, dragging Germany out of the financial depression it was in after World War I. And you're going to see Hydra do the same thing to the United States after in Secret Empire #1. And that's the flip side of what a help me out here. What's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know.
Not a socialist, but what a
Fascist nation.
thank you. What a fascist regime can do. It can do whatever it wants to with the economy and these things. I mean, it has the power to do so. So that's the flip side of fascism. You just give up all your freedoms to do it.
Right.
If you want to put everybody to work making guns, well, everybody can go to work. You just making guns to do it, and then the guns are going to kill you.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like we're going to have a lot of these conversations now that we're
going to have a lot of these conversations. And everybody still enjoys driving on the Autobahns that Hitler built. So there you go.
Right. I mean, we based our interstate system on them.
Yes. And they were designed to transport, weapons in case of warfare.
Yeah. And even in the case of what they did to the Jews in the concentration camps, particularly in the field of medical science, that was awful what they did to those people, but there were lessons to be learned there and we've applied them to modern medicine today.
Yeah.
And it's, all it is something good came out of a tragedy, but it still happened.
Yeah.
Anyway, we need to move on because
there will be lots of these discussions.
Yeah, we spent 40 minutes on Secret Empire. Silk number 19. We're going to keep this short. Silk finds out where her dad's been going. Turns out he's been giving information about Silk and her abilities to this wannabe Silk lady who works for Hydra or somebody. Works for the Ezekiel who was helping her with her, who's the one who locked her in the bunker she was in for so long. And her goal is to essentially steal Silk's powers and transfer them to herself. They fight. Silk wins. Everybody goes home happy. The family's back together. She found her parents. She has a phone conversation with Peter Parker about this whole doing the Spider-Man thing. She goes to her gay friend's wedding. And she tells her therapist she's really happy. And this is the end of this series.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, this is the last issue.
I didn't know that.
It was a quick wrap up. Because it seemed like they were going somewhere with what her dad's been doing this whole time. And it seems like they just kind of threw somebody in there to be like, oh, he was reporting to this lady who wanted to do bad things. And then they fought and she won and everything's happy now. Okay, bye.
Yeah, I promise we'll pick up speed. They're wrapping up. I don't really understand. They're wrapping up some of these books going into Secret Empire. Mm-hmm. They're launching some like Monsters Unleashed and Nick Fury. And then they're going to cancel some more going into Marvel Legacy. And I don't know what they're doing here, man. I don't.
This book probably its sales had probably dipped enough that they were going to cancel it. And then, they've got the character to work with if they want to. This is just them killing off the solo book.
Okay. We didn't have any X-Men or Avengers books this week.
Nope. Just one Inhumans book.
Which we got 3 X-Men book next week, so that makes no sense whatsoever. But we have a Inhumans book, which is Royals number 2. It was okay. I mean, it's they're
that
traveling.
Art sucked.
I thought you enjoyed this style of art.
I didn't enjoy this. Maybe it was because it was the Inhumans and not somebody else, but I didn't like it.
The color was okay. The art was off.
Yeah.
It was a good job with the color. The art was off. They're fighting some kind of giant space creature. Everybody has to use their powers through the ship. The end of it, we realized that somehow that wasn't Black Bolt that got sedated, drugged, locked up, and shot to the end of the universe. It was Maximus.
Yeah, who's back now, and he's going to help and stuff.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think he's still mad.
And Medusa's dying for some unknown reason.
Well, yeah, we learned that at the end of issue 1.
Yeah, well, we knew that. I'm
She's-
just context.
Yeah, and she's still dying. Yeah. I mean, it's just, you and I've discussed the style of art before. It's different. The colors make it pop. It's just not, the colors make it pop. I just don't like this. And this is that Greg Land meets anime art that we've discussed before.
Yeah, it was whatever.
Whatever. Yeah.
Tell you what was good art is this Black Panther World of Wakanda #6. So we're actually moving away from the two Dora Milaje girls and moving on to another story, which is what I wanted this book to be. I wanted to get a 5 or 6 issue story about these characters in Wakanda, and then maybe shift to this character in Wakanda. Then tell me about somebody else, which is what they're doing here. First of all, the cover is fantastic. It was done by Raza, who I don't know who that is, but whoever that is does really good cover art. It's actually a homage to the first Black Panther cover. Did you notice that?
I did not. No, I can look at it real quick.
The most recent Black Panther, like Black Panther #1, the most recent one. It's this, but it's Black Panther in front of Wakanda rather than White Tiger in front of New York.
Okay.
So the cover's great. Second, we're gonna cover the character, the focus character of this new story is Kevin Casper Cole, and it gives you a little backstory on him on the very first page. Essentially, he used to be the White Tiger and assist the Black Panther. That's really all you need to know. These days, however, he's working as a detective for the NYPD, and he's kind of miserable. His wife and kid have left him. He's living in a crappy apartment, and he's been working on this case about this guy forever and got no leads, and he's going to have to take his work home with him, and he's really just not happy with his life. Then he gets a phone call from T'Challa who says, "Hey, I need you to help me find this dude who's smuggling vibranium out of the country, out of Wakanda." And turns out it actually has to do with the investigation he's working on himself. So for one last time, he puts on the White Tiger costume and goes hunting. Long story short, he finds the guy who's smuggling the vibranium. And in their fight, he actually gets teleported to Wakanda. So he's got to report back to T'Challa anyway. So he just walks into the palace there, and he's like, "Hey, bro, what's up? I got your dude." And then T'Challa's like, "Well, since you're here, let me give you all these upgraded suit and weapons and tech. And how about you work for me now?" So now you've got what is essentially a second Black Panther running around doing detective work. Yeah.
Sounds good.
I'm interested. It's got my attention more than the other two. I really enjoyed the book.
There you go.
Yeah. And then you've got also Daredevil 19. Really, the cover on this is really good.
Yeah, it is.
Look at this cover. He's falling off the building, and there's shadows of hands on the buildings like they're going to catch him.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool. It's essentially wrapping up the Purple Man story. It's him in a bar talking to the Purple Man, who's the bartender. It's essentially him fighting off the Purple Man in his head, is what we've got here.
Yes.
So he fights him off in his head, breaks the Purple Man's control, and in the next issue, he's gonna go finish off the Purple Man.
No, he finished off the Purple Man in that issue.
Well, he's doing something in the next issue. I guess it's the kids. I don't know. I'll be honest, I've not been impressed with this Purple Man story.
It wasn't the best Purple Man story in the world, but it's setting something up. He defeated the Purple Man here, and he goes to leave because the Purple Man's in custody, and the kids want to help him out. Kids feel sorry for him.
Okay. Well, let me know when Muse is back. I'll be interested again.
Okay. That brings us to Deadpool number 29. For the love of Pete, can this story end? Because there's a much better story
Oh,
coming.
they're still doing the
This is still Death to His part number 6, and we have Dracula and Shakira getting married, and no one cares. And they get married, and then the monsters are supposed to unite, except the ghost of Benjamin Franklin, who's always hanging around with the monsters, ask the monsters and the vampires, hey, do you really have to follow them? Because I'm all about freedom, and I helped write the Declaration of Independence, and why don't you just be independent and not follow them? And, the monsters think about it, and then Dracula shows up and says, no, you have to follow me. And while he's doing that, Shakira decides she wants one last booty call with Deadpool, which is, just really kind of awkward. And at that point,
it's like breakup sex. Like what?
Dude, it's their thing, man. They fight, then they have sex. It's their thing.
Okay.
So
I don't get it, but okay.
It's their thing, man. It's then the monsters decide they really do want to be free, and then Shakira's like, you know what? Maybe I don't have to rule people. Maybe that would be a cool idea. So then she and Dracula split, and then all these people start showing up and giving Daredevil bills for stuff, including somebody from Parker Industries for some of the damage he did. And that's the end of the story. And thank God we can move on. I'm not going to tell you where Deadpool is going, but it's going to get much, 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 much better.
Yeah, it's going to tie into Secret Empire in a good way.
It's let's put it this way. You've had the happy-go-lucky Deadpool for 29 issues now. And
that can't last forever.
Let me rephrase that. Jerry Dugan's been writing Deadpool for like 6 years now.
Yeah.
And he's and I read an article about this actually. He's intentionally made Deadpool what he is. Wealthy, happy, kids, family. He's got the daughter running around. He's got a wife, an ex-wife. He's intentionally built. Everybody likes him. He's an Avenger. He's built Deadpool up to this. Okay. Kind of like Peter Parker's been up to where he built up to where he is now. And it ain't going to last. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's he's about to do major changes in the book, and I'm really, really looking forward to it. I've read some of them. I'm looking forward to reading all of them.
Cool.
Doctor Strange number 19.
This is wrapping up this Mr. Misery Wong story. I'm not going to get real long-winded here other than to say Chris Bachalo's art's really good. It's Doctor Strange and Zelma Stanton running around the Sanctum Sanctorum trying to figure out how to extract Mr. Misery from Wong without killing Wong. And they proceed to do that, and Zelma Stanton is funny and tells jokes and kills a refrigerator. And they succeed. Wong is, is exercised and back to his old self. Also, it turns out his favorite food is oatmeal.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
So, now they're on to something else. And if I remember correctly, Jason Aaron and Chris Bachalo are wrapping up their run on this book real soon. It'll go to somebody else.
There are 2 books that really surprised me this week. And this Guardians of the Galaxy Dream On number 1 is one of them. Did you happen to read this?
I glanced at it, but I didn't really read it. I didn't even know what it was.
It's a one-shot. I think it's a one-shot. They came out around the time the movie did. They needed extra books around the time the movie did.
Yeah, they needed promo material. Got it.
Yeah. And this is it. And it's surprisingly good. They've got this bounty hunter who is hunting him, and he's basically got he's captured the Guardians and got them in these sleep chambers. And they're dreaming, and you start the book with each of them dreaming their perfect life. So you spend a couple pages with that, and then they get out and fight the bounty hunter and throw him in one of the sleep chambers. And it's an entertaining story. The art's really good. The color's good. the whole thing pops. There's a backup story from Jim Valentino from his run on Guardians. It's really good. I mean, it's a surprisingly good book from something I didn't expect to be surprised by.
Huh. Maybe I'll go back and look at it then.
I mean, I just, you know, when you expect nothing and then it shows up and it's pretty good, you're like, yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And then sometimes you expect stuff and you get more than you bargained for. Now, listen, this Invincible Iron Man book is really good. And in fact, I think this might be where the book is really starting to hit its stride. But I'm gonna just give you the quick breakdown for the sake of brevity. We start off with Riri being offered essentially Tony Stark's lab. They're standing in his lab, and she's geeking out over the Iron Man armor, all the various armors, and Pepper, MJ, and his mom are all standing there going, "Listen, you know, this lab's just going to go to waste. Why don't you use it?" So that's a big deal, and she gets offered that. Also, a reappearance by Doc Samson. That's nice. So, you know, she's like, "Holy crap, you know, what do I do with this lab? I don't know what to do. I got to think about it." Flies home. Meanwhile, there's this B story. This lady's trying to take over Latveria. And succeeds in doing so. I'm not entirely sure what's going on here, but it's probably not going to be good for Riri. So back at home, Riri's contemplating her decision. Does she accept and go work in Tony Stark's lab? That's when somebody from MIT shows up and basically offers Riri free, you know, essentially a free education at MIT plus all kinds of research opportunities and things like that. And she's a little beholden to MIT because she kind of built the first armor out of MIT resources, and, you know, they could sue her if they wanted to, but they just want to make nice and say, "Hey, let's work together. Why don't you come work for us?" So that's her second choice. Then she goes to fight, was it the Rhino? Yeah, I think it's the Rhino. I don't remember. It's the Armadillo. He is tearing up New York. She goes to beat him down. The champions show up and they offer her membership. Lots of roads to go down for Riri Williams.
There you go. It was entertaining.
It was good. In fact, like I said, I feel like the book is really hitting its stride here. But yeah, I just gave you the quick and dirty.
Yeah. The second book that surprised me this week, is Monsters Unleashed #1.
I was surprised too.
Now, we know I really took a major
dump
on the first series.
Yeah.
And I didn't expect anything out of this series. I read it because it was assigned to me this week. But Colin Bunn's writing it, and what's the kid's name? Kid what? Kid Kai?
Kid Kaiju.
Kid Kaiju. It's just entertaining. I mean, he and his parents have been assigned to this house on the island. Apparently 5 of the monsters, I almost said monsters. 5 of the monsters just somehow survived the experience, and they're like hanging out outside the house trying to eavesdrop on everything.
You know what it reminded me of?
He's got one of the Herbie Fantastic Four Herbies.
Herbie's
flying around the house.
Tutor or his teacher. I don't know
they're reminding me of Transformers. I don't know if
that's what I thought too. Yeah, they remind me of Transformers.
I don't know if that's what they intended or not, but that's what they look like.
Well, and even just their behavior is very, we're giant robots and we got to hang out at the house while we're not doing anything, you know.
Right. Elsa Bloodstone is bored and she's out killing monsters just, you know, because she's bored and wants to do something. You know, and so they're out chasing sharks and fishing. And then they get a call to go fight a monster, and it's a trap. And dude, then you get to the end and you got a great group of villains there. You know, you got the Mad Thinker, the leader, Mr. Sinister, MODOK,
MODOK 2.0.
MODOK 2.0. I mean, I was just surprised how good this book was. It's
Yeah,
not like
it wasn't it wasn't a masterpiece or anything,
right?
But entertaining.
Yeah, it was just surprisingly good. You know, I mean, it was.
Because when I saw this, I groaned.
I did too. Yeah, you're expecting something horrible, and instead, you know, it was entertaining. So there you go. Yeah.
Wasn't terrible.
No, that moves us on to Moon Knight with Death and Birth, part 4 of 5. Anybody who's read Moon Knight, this is the Bushwhackers origin again, except you've got we're dealing with Mark Spector's sanity, and he's walking through what turns out to be his brain, which I thought was pretty interesting because we didn't know it was his brain, and he didn't, and he's walking on a squishy substance.
We always wondered if he was stuck in his own head,
and apparently he is.
Yeah.
So does that mean that the whole thing's in his head?
Yeah, that's what I took from it, is that whatever he's doing, wherever he's sitting, even if that's the asylum, everything we've seen is taking place in his head.
Apparently. And then you get the whole retelling of the Bushwhacker origin, which I've seen many times. And if you're familiar with Moon Knight at all, you've seen several times. If you're not, read it. It's good. It's basically a rehashing of his origin, more or less. And then he goes to I'm not even going to say it because I'm going to butcher the name.
Khonshu.
So he goes to fight Khonshu. It's interesting. I don't. He's back in a mental hospital, which is apparently in his mind. So,
yeah. So where is he really? Like, that's the thing, is all of this is taking place in his mind. Where is he?
I don't know. I go back to what Nick Fury said months ago, which is he's in a mental hospital.
Yeah, that's what I think too. But I think at the end of this, he's going to come out cured or relatively sane enough to get out of the mental hospital and go back to being Moon Knight.
Right.
For real. And that's when Max Bemis will pick up the reins, I believe.
Right.
Yeah. It was pretty good.
Okay.
Miss Marvel was pretty good too, in its Miss Marvel way. So this is where she wraps up this troll storyline, and she defeats the troll here. I'm not going to give you the full details, but essentially her plan is everyone should be nice. If everyone could be nice to each other, then maybe it'll be okay. So she gets together with all of her guild mates in real life. They have a LAN party in the middle of a convenience store, which is where they met up. And they play that game that they're playing, Battlecraft, which is definitely totally not at all World of Warcraft. No, not at all. And they're really nice to people in the game. And the idea is that, the troll became the way he is because of all the negativity it experiences online, because it's at its core a computer program that learns. So if they can make everybody be nice for a day, they can make the troll be nice and break the cycle. It works. Next issue, we're moving on to her unresolved issues with her boyfriend who's in Wakanda.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's what I said. It wasn't awful. I enjoyed it because I like this Miss Marvel book. Anyway, I also enjoyed Nick Fury #1.
I did too. I was a little... Are you familiar with Jim Steranko?
A little.
Jim Steranko's art in the late 60s, early 70s was very modern and
psychedelic.
No, that's not the word I'm looking for. I mean, when everybody was told by Stan Lee to draw just like Jack Kirby, okay, literally it was called the Jack Kirby style. So
Yeah.
everything coming out of Marvel and almost everything coming out of DC looked like Jack Kirby. And then you had somebody drawing like Jim Steranko, which is essentially, I mean, if you look at a cover, okay, the pictures inside of Nick Fury are Jim Steranko art. And then when you go to that first splash page, and particularly the second and third splash pages, that's Jim Steranko art. I mean, this whole thing is an homage to Jim Steranko. And it's okay. I mean, this is basically Nick Fury Jr. being James Bond with Jim Steranko art and nice pastel colors.
It's mostly Nick Fury's watch being James Bond.
Yeah, which
I have no problem with that being a tool in their box and that being something that they can do a lot with. But man, that watch gets a real workout in this first issue.
Yeah, I mean, the thing's only 16 pages.
It was okay.
It was okay. The art's okay. I didn't really. I don't always like those soft pastel colors.
I enjoyed the art more than anything.
The whole thing was just like, let me put it this way: if we get this every issue, I'm going to get bored real quick.
Okay. I don't know that I will. I think I enjoyed it more than you did, and I can get into this stuff. But if it's basically it's basically Kingsman, but with Nick Fury.
Yes.
Yeah, if you've seen that movie.
Yeah.
It's that movies, kind of.
I think I've got my Thor tickets for tomorrow night, but go ahead.
Oh yeah.
Just thought I'd throw that in for free.
I guess that would be tomorrow night, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
I'll see it Monday.
Okay. All right. On to Star-Lord number 6.
First of all, nice cover.
Yes.
Who did the cover? Matthew Wilson. Oh, that's the dude who does it's gone. Oh well, he does some stuff. This is also wrapping up this storyline. We had a lot of storylines wrapping up this week. Even if it's not issues, it's just a lot.
I believe it's wrapping up the series.
It might be. At the end of the last issue, the old guy that he's been hanging out with falls out of a window and on top of a car and dies. So Star-Lord goes to the funeral. Then he goes and talks to this old lady that they were dealing with, who is showing entirely too much cleavage. Then Wolverine comes down the stairs and you realize that old man Logan likes him some old lady. Yeah, anyway. They have an awkward conversation. They restart the bar with no name. Some of the villains do. Star-Lord finds Rocket Raccoon at a bar. They've got problems. Agent Brand shows up, takes Star-Lord with her to Alpha Flight, and is going to get him a spaceship and get him out of here. They're wrapping up the grounded.
I like thing. Agent Brand and Rocket's interaction.
Yeah, they're funny together.
Yeah. I really like the way. Yeah, I really like the way Abigail Brand's being portrayed in everything these days.
Yeah, I've always liked her character.
Although I don't ever know what happened to her in Beast.
I don't know. That might still be a thing. Who knows?
I don't know.
Both of them are too busy to do much of anything,
I guess.
Yeah. Anyway, tell me about the Punisher.
The Punisher is short recaps. Okay.
Yeah, there's never it's a lot of action and not a whole lot of dialogue.
Okay. Olaf has captured the Punisher and he's on this ship, and Olaf frees the Punisher and says, "Whoever can kill the Punisher will be my second in command." And that leads to 20 pages of bloody fighting.
Yeah.
There's just not much to talk about because, there's lots of stuff blowing up, lots of people taking that EMC drug and wigging out and trying to kill Frank, and Frank somehow getting free of it. And at the end of it, Olaf standing there saying, "Come get me."
Yeah, and it's mostly just Frank brutally murdering thugs.
Yes.
Which is what you want in a Punisher book.
Yeah. yeah, that's pretty much it, man.
I liked. Do you remember Deadpool versus Punisher from last week?
Yeah.
I like how I like Deadpool making the Frankenstein jokes to Frank Castle because I remember those issues when he was Frankenstein, and I enjoy those issues. I liked that point. I liked the Punisher during that time.
I told you that was a good read, man. Do we get another one of those next week?
Oh, I hope so. That was good.
I'll have to look and see.
But yeah, it was. Yeah, Frank Castle is Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally Awesome Hulk number 18. Hulk and the Protectors go to fight Prince Regent Phalanx of Seknarf 7. They throw down real hardcore with those guys just in and keep them at bay just in time for reinforcements to show up and help them out. Amadeus Cho and whatever the dude's name is from Agents of Atlas have a conversation about, you know, the lengths at which they're willing to go to get their point across. We're going to do something else next issue. Okay. Hooray.
Yeah. So Venom number 6, Lee Price, the guy who started this series in number 1, has Venom, and through his force of will, he's kind of keeping Venom captured. Spider-Man's there to try and capture the symbiote, and Flash Thompson's there helping him. They've got a sonic gun. They basically shoot the symbiote, capture it, take it to Parker Industries and keep it there, except when they go to check on it, it turns out it's been busted loose, and Flash and the symbiote are reunited and back off to adventures.
Is it Flash?
And that's Flash Thompson.
Is it?
Yep.
It's not this dude it's been for a minute?
Well, it is in the beginning. It's not at the end.
Yeah, okay. So he got the symbiote for 6 issues, and now
5 and a half.
Now it's back with Flash Thompson.
Yep.
Okay. I kind of like this direction they were going, but all right. I like him with Flash Thompson too.
Okay. Or Eddie Brock. No, I'm sorry.
Oh, is it Eddie Brock?
Yeah.
Or is it Flash Thompson?
I'm reading. Apparently it's Eddie Brock.
Okay. I didn't read it because the app wouldn't let me. So
Eddie Brock.
Okay, Eddie Brock is in possession of the Venom symbiote once again.
Yes.
Okay.
I thought it was Flash because Flash is there too, but it's Eddie Brock. Yeah, Eddie Brock. Sorry. Okay, on to Poe Dameron.
Poe Dameron number 13. First of all, really cool cover. And this is, again, wrapping up another storyline. Black Squadron is fighting off Agent Terrax's fighters in the sky, while Poe Dameron's trying to evade Agent Terrax and his guys on the ground because he's got that information from that droid. All his buddies are helping him out, trying to get him, trying to save him and not die in the process. The Empire shows up, shoots all of Agent Terrax's guys, lands, and basically takes possession of the situation. And you have to understand the weird stalemate that's going on between the First Order and the New Republic. They essentially swoop down and say, we're taking Agent Terrax with us. Thank you. Please hand him over. As Poe was able to subdue him. Also, BB-8 didn't die like we thought.
Yay.
Yay. We knew that because we see him in the movie. So essentially what it is that in order to avoid an incident, they're going to hand Agent Terrax over, and they're just going to go their separate ways. So, yeah. And also one of the squadron died. I don't know who or whatever. It was a quick wrap up for.
He was the red shirt.
Yeah. Anyway, they're moving on to another story next issue. In fact, it's number 14, and I'm starting to wonder if they're wrapping this up. But
I don't think so. I think it's still on.
It was okay. It was fine. I was ready to be done with this story. Also, I think the information they have is the Star Killer base that they're building. I think that's the information they're trying to protect here. Because the other piece of information that they've been looking for is the location of Lor San Tekka. Who knows where Luke Skywalker is? Anyway, hopefully we get back to that next issue. I think we do.
Okie dokie.
What was your favorite book this week?
It's a toss-up between Captain America Steve Rogers number 16 and Secret Empire number 0. I really enjoyed them both, and I've been looking forward to both of them for a long time. Probably Secret Empire number 0.
Yeah. It's hard to pick that one because that's what you did, but it's hard not to. Yeah, this could be Secret Empire number 0 for sure.
Yeah, you really enjoy. I asked you her name last week, and you talked to me like I'm crazy because she's done a lot of the Wolverine art. What's that young lady's name? Andrea.
Landry.
Golly, creators. Well, maybe she didn't draw this. I thought she did. Yes, she did. She did some of it. I can see her artwork. Andrea Sorrentino.
Yeah, I've never heard of her.
She did some of that Old Man Logan stuff.
Oh, okay.
I really enjoyed
her by her art, not her name.
And here's the thing that the way they kept this thing coming every 2 weeks is they use a series of artists on it. Mm-hmm. So you see different artists in different sections, which is kind of good and kind of bad. I mean, it at times it can be irritating, but
right from a continuity standpoint, the art keeps shifting, so it's confusing.
Right, but it keeps the book coming on time, and I want the book on time. So
yeah, and it's also controversial because it doesn't let artists get a reputation or any more recognition. And Marvel caught some heat for that, and I think they're right to have caught some heat for it. But I also understand the need to ship books on time.
Yeah, but here's the thing: Daniel Arcuna did the majority of the art, and she did some of it. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I want the thing shipped on time.
I hate it for the artist, and I'm not wild about it, but Marvel's consistently had a problem shipping books on time, and this is the way they found to fix it. And they got to start plugging holes in this ship, man.
Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah.
We had some great dumps this week.
Yeah.
Actually, those Doctor Strange books weren't bad, but
they're good. I really like that Doctor Strange stuff.
Yeah, but we got Machine Man annuals. Who cares? We got Black Panther Lexus books.
Did you read any of those?
No, and I don't care to.
Yeah, it was like 4 or 5 books that showed up in the middle of the week, and it was a Black Panther Lexus tie-in ad thing. I didn't even bother reading it. I assume it's some sort of promotion for the upcoming movie. Whatever.
Who cares?
That Ralph Macchio Doctor Strange stuff from the 90s is really not half bad.
No. And somewhere, I think it was this week, there's a Wolverine, Ghost Rider, Punisher book. It's a one-shot. I think it was actually like a $10 graphic novel when it was on the newsstand. And at one point I had it. That's a really good book. I think it's like 50 pages. It's a one-shot graphic novel, really good.
Okay, cool. That's your classic read this week then.
There you go.
Yeah. By the way, those Strange Tales books that came with the dump this week, Check those out too. They're man, I love that old Strange Tales stuff. I can't read a lot of the old stuff like that, but I can read those Strange Tales. They're fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, go check out our other show, What's Next, if you would like to hear about other stuff you should be reading. If you want to email us about what you're reading or what you're enjoying or what your thoughts are on Secret Empire, please email us at 6monthsbehind@gmail.com. That's the number 6monthsbehind@gmail.com. Also visit our website where you can find all things Secret Empire.
www.6monthsbehind.com. That book is Ghost Rider, Wolverine, Punisher, The Dark Design.
Oh yeah, I'll remember that for sure.
Yeah, really good. Really good. Website's www.6monthsbehind.com, where you need to go read Secret Empire Free Comic Book Day.
Yes. Again, that's on Comixology, our website, and Kindle. So, and it's literally free. You can just download it and read it. So you ain't got no excuse. And before we go, as always, Pat, do you have any wisdom for our true believers?
I could agree with you, but then we'd both be wrong.
Well, I would disagree with you, but then we'd both be wrong.
There you go.
See you guys next week.
Peace.